You're listening to The Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing tonight? This is Angry Tensai, your favorite Canadian host here on air. Little contrite tonight, a little more serious show today. I have Big Vic with me. Tonight is our Hulk Hogan tribute show. I think we all know about the events of this week, and I think we'll take callers if anyone wants to talk about it, including recapping Raw. Over the night, everybody could tell their favorite Hulk Hogan memories, of many different eras. I know, Big Dick and I were talking about, before what happened with Hogan and his demise, WrestleMania 3. I have to ask you, Vic, what was your favorite moment of WrestleMania 3?
You know what? My favorite moment of WrestleMania 3, there's an upstart tag team called the Killer Bees. And they wrestled their hearts out on the pay-per-view. They really did. They stole the show. I think that was probably either my favorite, might have been my second favorite. I think my favorite show, or my favorite part of that show, was the Hulkster. The one, the only, the champion of the world, Terry Hogan, actually body slammed. Did the unthinkable.
I couldn't believe it.
I didn't think it was going to happen. I remember...
The Giant.
Yeah, I remember it just didn't look good going in. Andre the Giant took a freaking cart to the ring. Like, he didn't have to walk to the ring. It was pretty awesome. And I'm thinking, oh man, Andre the Giant's saving all this energy, and, I think this match, I think it'd be nice to see him win, but no. Hulk Hogan actually body slammed him. It was
unbelievable.
Amazing.
Great moment, man. And, those guys paved the way for all this wrestling action we saw tonight. One thing we got tonight, Triple H came out, started the show with Stephanie McMahon and Seth Rollins, and they made a big announcement about how SummerSlam is a 4-hour main event. And speaking of main events tonight, on top of the main event of Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, John Cena came out and they booked a champions versus champions match, John Cena versus Seth Rollins. However, it would be for the United States title, not the world title. So what an opportunity tonight. It was a nice segment to start the show and reminds me of another champions versus champion match. WrestleMania 6, look no further. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. That was one of the greatest matches ever. Intercontinental champion surpasses the world champion. Warrior beats Hogan. The torch is passed. What do you remember about that night, Vic?
You know what? That really was a game changer, because Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster, he was the face of the company up until that point. He was a legend. And I really think Ultimate Warrior behind the scenes was not such a colossal jerkwad that he would have turned into the next Hulk Hogan. Apparently,
I would agree.
They were positioning him at this point to pick up the torch from the Hulkster. Unfortunately, he pretty much dropped it. But in this match, this was his coming out party. This was something that really put. The Hulkster. He's been putting people over for the last 20 years now in reality, or at least 25 years in reality, by letting anyone beat him or anybody in the ring with him. But this especially, this was a classic start to a passing of the torch that never took place. But this was an incredible match, and it was one of those matches where he felt hey, I'm upset. I'm upset that the Hulkster lost, but you know what? He lost to a true champion, the Ultimate Warrior, and he lost like champion.
Yeah, and he did. And Seth Rollins could have learned a thing or two tonight. Hogan always gave people the title shot, and Rollins tonight wasn't going to do that. He forced his way in to the U.S. title shot, and he said Cena has to earn the WWE title shot. So, that was the main event tonight, and we did find out main eventing SummerSlam would be Lesnar and Undertaker. So that was a nice ad. But, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the spirit of SummerSlam. I'll never forget my first SummerSlam watching the Mega Powers take on the Mega Bucks, that being Hogan and Savage, the great incomparable Hulk Hogan, and Macho Man Randy Savage against $1 Million Man and Ted DiBiase, but we'll cover that a little bit later. Vic, I got to talk to you a little bit about tonight. One thing that Stephanie McMahon booked in that first segment was a match between Sasha Banks and Paige, and I have to say, maybe I don't know. To me, that was the best match of the night, and I have to say, Sasha Banks is head and shoulders better than anyone I've seen on TV in the Divas division. What do you think?
That's a bold statement. That is a bold statement. You know
awesome.
What? Yeah, you know what? I'm really excited by this Divas division right now.
Me too.
I mean, I feel like we've sort of it was sort of an awkward way that they came out and they said, hey, we want to bring in all these new ladies, all these fresh faces into the division and move forward from there. However, it's almost like a fantasy league with matches. I mean, you have literally probably 3 months of first time ever matchups with whether you tag teams or
right
one-on-ones or renew rivalries or start new rivalries. I mean, it's a great thing for the division. It makes it a lot more interesting, and you start a whole lot of new feuds coming up. So I really like that.
How did you feel about the match itself and maybe the ending?
You know what? I like the match. I don't know if it was the best match on Raw. It probably was from start to finish. Although there were actually some decent matches tonight, so I don't want to just poo-poo them and say, hey, the women had the best match. But I feel like it's the start of something big in the women's division. I like it.
Right. For those of you who didn't see the match, do yourself a favor and watch it. They got a lot of time too. They got about 10 to 15 minutes, and Sasha Banks won with the bank statement, and Paige actually tapped out in the middle of the ring, and it wasn't a bullshit win. It wasn't because of interference. It was a clean match. Both women wrestled a hard match. It's funny. I've never really noticed this in a Divas match. Did you see how sweaty Paige and Sasha Banks were after the match? I don't know if it was hot in the arena, but man, they were like pouring.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it was pretty low match. I mean, that was a decent match. I think that this exceeded expectations as a women's match. I think most matches that the women are involved in are about 3 to 5 minutes these days on average, with a clean finish at the end, or B, the Bellas basically hitting the ring and causing a disqualification. So you know what? Right. I mean, you give him a 10-minute match, and shoot, I can really see him. You can see him work a sweat up. So I think it's a good match for this division, and I like it because it's not just it's literally not just the Bellas running interference and winning matches, or you know what, even losing matches. But it's basically,
as far as the Sasha match goes, though, and the Paige match goes, do you see any parallels to Hogan? Anything that you'd think of on the Hogan tribute night?
You know what? I feel like, I don't want to say, I feel like Sasha Banks is almost the equivalent of the Hulkster as a heel.
Yes.
Do you not agree? I mean, the Hulkster, as much as you want to say he's a fan favorite and people loved him and living legend, I mean, when he was a heel, he wasn't one of those heels who was a complete chicken shit heel, like Seth Rollins. I mean,
No, I agree.
But there were times, but I mean, he was a fighting champion. He wanted to put up a fight and get in a 15-minute wrestling match with somebody like Kurt Angle for the championship, and he wanted to earn it. So I really respect the champions who will go toe-to-toe and will take a non-title match and just work their way up the ranks. So that really...
I'm with you. I think of Cena tonight and how he went over Seth Rollins in a big way. And I think they made the WWE champion look really weak, to be honest with you. And we'll talk about that. But it kind of reminds me of WrestleMania 9 when Yokozuna beat Bret Hart, albeit with some interference from Fuji's Salt. Yokozuna wins the main event at WrestleMania, defeats Bret Hart. Hulk Hogan out of nowhere comes out, makes the save on Bret Hart. And Yokozuna challenges anyone, any place, anytime. Hogan takes the match right there at WrestleMania, walks out with the belt, beats Yokozuna in a minute. Is there any parallels you see between Cena and Hogan? I mean, that's a natural.
Yeah.
On Hogan Appreciation Night.
Yeah, you know what? I think that, John Cena, as far as a moveset and as far as putting on a long 15, 20-minute match and really telling a story, he can do that as well as anybody. The thing is, Hulk Hogan, never needed to do that. He could put somebody over by beating them in 5 to 10 minutes. He doesn't need a 30-minute match. And again, I think that's times being changed where it's not a classic match if it goes over 10 minutes. But I feel like I really feel like that with times changing the way they are, that you need to put on at least a 20-minute match if you want a 4-star match at a pay-per-view.
I'm with you. I couldn't agree more. The length does not matter. It's the quality. Killer Kev, I know you're our producer behind the mic. I don't know if you want to say a few words tonight on Hogan Appreciation Night, the Hogan Tribute Show. I'm surprised WWE Raw didn't have wrestlers come out and tell their favorite moments with Hogan tonight, but they didn't. Do you want to add anything?
Hulk Hogan will make his way back. He may be down, but he's never out.
Now, I have a question for you, Killer Kev. Do you think this is just one giant angle? Where this quote-unquote tape was leaked, and he eventually comes back with Titus O'Neil and Darren Young and the entire New Day?
What if he comes back as Mr. America again?
I could see it.
I'd like that. I think he could be a Hall of Famer. I think Mr. America could be a Hall of Famer also. I'm not sure. Do you think Mr. America has a shot to get into WWE Hall of Fame based on his career record?
I don't know.
You know what would be great if WWE brought back the Lex Express, because it's very American, and they had Mark Henry driving the Lex Express with R-Truth, the New Day, the Primetime Players, amongst others. Ahmed Johnson.
Now, I have a question. Would they be driving a Lex Express, or would they have stolen it?
I don't know where you're going, but it's probably not good. It's probably not good.
I can see that as an angle. I mean, the Lex Express, that was a really solid face angle.
Yeah.
With him, I mean, that was really built him up as not quite a Hogan, but you could see him getting there. Again, sort of similar to the Ultimate Warrior. But,
I think Hogan's weighing on a lot of people's minds tonight. Let's just throw it out there. Honestly, if you guys want to really know, I saw some YouTube videos. If you guys really want to know who's behind this, I could sum it up. A name we've heard before, Kevin Sullivan. There it is. Kevin Sullivan.
Wow. I'm sickened to hear that name again.
There was one consistent thing that I saw in the background of the sex tape, and nobody has talked more on this podcast network than myself about the Hogan sex tape. You look in that video and you watch it, you see Heather Clem. What's in the background of that video? Gym equipment. There it is. Somebody needs to speak up, and somebody needs to say what needs to be said. And, I saw the gym equipment. I saw Kevin Sullivan and Hogan. He's been framed. Let's just say that. And I don't think we need to say more. We're honoring him tonight. We're giving him his tribute. But, Lex Express Hogan, I think it could have saved the show tonight. And, I don't know if anybody noticed this. Bray Wyatt, he's so good on the mic. Did anyone see his ode to Hogan tonight? I don't think most people caught that. But Bray Wyatt, he's amazing. He talked about his follower, which was his pet. His pet followed him around everywhere. His pet, he used the term, his pet was like a legend to him. His pet was like a Hall of Famer in his life. Subtle undertones. And he talked about that his pet was forced to go out on its own. And when it did, it came back, but it never came back the same. It came back with a large cut on it. And he didn't know where it came from. But when he came back, he never left Bray's side. And then he whispered something, when you come back, you'll never leave our side. And I really don't know where Bray was going with that, but it was a threat in some way to Roman Reigns. But I think we all really know what Hall of Famer he was talking to tonight.
I'm sorry, say it. Angry Tensai?
What's that?
Could you say that one more time?
I think we all know what Hall of Famer and what animal, pet, subtly veiled that Bray Wyatt was referring to. Bray Wyatt was talking about the homecoming, hopefully someday, of Hogan. That's what that was about.
Yeah, you know what? It was a little darker and more twisted.
Yeah, he's affected.
But I like it for a long-term angle. I really feel like they're building him up. At some point, they're going to be returning him as an even bigger star. And I'm not talking about a Eugene tag team partner star.
Can I throw more out there, though? I agree. He'll be a bigger star. But did you notice just everybody had their little acts of defiance? Naomi comes out in red and yellow. Have you ever seen Naomi in red and yellow? What move?
I have not. And
no,
that's
what move?
Especially in the circumstances behind this.
What move set up the bank statement that Paige tapped out to? Big boot, leg drop. Was that a coincidence? Don't think so. Don't think so. We saw it.
You're right. It was as much as you don't, or WWE doesn't want it to be a quote unquote tribute show. They knew people were watching. And I feel like it's their job as podcast sponsors to make sure that people understand, hey, look, we've been watching, we saw this, and the country's been going downhill for at least 100 years, based on what I've seen. Our peak, and you know what the problem is? There's just not enough people here who say their prayers, eat their vitamins, and
I agree.
It's just not the ethic.
It's the way you live your life.
Exactly. Like if you wake up in the morning and you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to not reach my goals, I'm not going to do this, not do that, then hey, guess what? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you wake up in the morning and you say, hey, I want to watch 6 Hulk Hogan videos on YouTube to open the morning, more power to you.
Let me ask you a question. Opportunity is a big deal, and I watched Charlotte Flair tonight. Charlotte and Becky Lynch took on Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox, and they won the match. And it wasn't even close to as good as the Paige Sasha Banks match. But I kept thinking about myself about what a legend the Nature Boy was, what a legend Ric Flair was. And, yet Charlotte is not building out her own niche on her own. She uses the figure 4 leg lock, calls the figure 8, uses a remixed version, club version of the Ric Flair theme music. And I have no problem with Charlotte. She is a talent, but she's living off her father. Now imagine if there was a certain daughter who maybe had a said music career. She didn't use her father. She didn't use his name to upstart her career. You talk about you want your Divas division to explode. You want your Divas Divas division, look no further than a young blonde that goes by the name Brooke. And I'm not talking about the one in the NXT. I'm talking about the one that used to be the TNA GM. There is a talent. There's a talent.
Yeah, this really was. It really was it was an emotional night, my friend. It was a really emotional night. I'm spent.
I don't know. I just really, I thought a lot about things tonight and my favorite moments. You know, I'll never forget the roller coaster of emotions. Bash at the Beach, when Hulk Hogan became Hollywood Hulk Hogan, turned his back on the crowd. And, you know, I kind of feel like that heel turn happened 20 years ago. And then 20 years later, the media and the fans have done their heel turn on him. A giant NWO swerve. It's kind of ironic 20 years later, isn't it? Very ironic. To the point where you won't even say anything. And I don't blame you. You know, instead you're forced to watch Rusev bring out Summer Rae, who gets her face rubbed with a dead fish. Go figure that one out. That really happened. Nothing more needs to be said there. But the main event tonight was John Cena versus Seth Rollins, and they had a good match, without a doubt. It was a clean finish, shockingly, and John Cena cleanly goes over our champion, Seth Rollins. It makes me wonder, you know, the U.S. title defended successfully. Does this mean the U.S. title is now more prestigious than the world title? What do you think, Big Dick? Oh, no. Oh, no. It's Hogan Appreciation Night.
30 seconds was all it took.
It's a tribute show.
30 seconds.
Chicken head.
Chicken head. Chicken head. What? Chicken head.
Oh man. I was telling the story of the Hulkster and how the fans have done the heel turn on him in the reality, just like at Bash the Beach, and you just fell asleep.
Yeah, you know what? I just didn't want to be honest with you, I didn't want to hear that story. It makes me a little sad what some fans have done. I mean, this man is a living, breathing icon who is single-handedly lifted wrestling from some hill-jack things done in high school gymnasiums to the level of WrestleMania.
Can I ask you a question, Big Dick?
Absolutely, brother.
The Lucha Dragons took on the Matadors tonight, which was actually a really good match. Do you have any comments on why primetime players actually didn't get a match and were sidelined tonight?
You know what? I don't know. I didn't mind them not having a match. Their commentary was interesting, but they aren't necessarily a good. I'd rather see these two tag teams face each other than one of them face the.
So, but you did sense and you did feel that they didn't have a match.
Yeah, I mean Titus O'Neil. I mean he was just sitting there with Darren Young.
Can I ask you another question?
What's that?
Did you notice Mark Henry didn't have a match? Did you notice R-Truth did not have a match on Raw tonight?
Wow.
Did you notice The New Day did not have a match on Raw tonight?
All three of them did not have a match? Wow. That's, you know what?
Did you notice Naomi did not have a match tonight on Raw?
Something's fishy. I don't know. Is this part of the tribute, the unknown, unseen tribute to the
Kev, tell me I'm missing something here, Kevin.
What's that? What are you missing?
Why were all those people sidelined tonight?
I don't know. Maybe they had a house show they had to work in Batavia, Illinois.
Why Batavia?
I don't know. It could be Houston for all I know. Memphis, Baton Rouge, San Francisco.
Could they have been on the Lex Express getting ready?
They could have.
I'm just saying. Do you think it's possible that because of tonight's theme and content, this could be the last Raw reaction ever? Is it possible, Kev?
Anything is possible.
True.
As Hulk Hogan showed us at WrestleMania 3 by body slamming the one, the only Andre the Giant. Anything is possible. And
Guys,
my
you know
friend,
what match I hated tonight? Ambrose versus Big Show. I did not like that. I thought Ambrose looked horrible. I think it was worse than being pinned. It was like losing a last man standing match.
yeah, you know what? I was waiting for how this starts up the next angle. I was almost thinking that Dean Ambrose was going to get some sort of end up getting some sort of rivalry started with the Miz, who was providing some pretty entertaining commentary. And I'll tell you what, that Byron Saxton guy, oh my god, freaking horrible.
Well, you should watch what you say about Byron Saxton.
Yeah, you know what? I think they more than made up not giving all those people that you named earlier matches by having him on commentary.
Do you know what? Do you know where? Do you know that? I don't know if you know this, but Hogan actually found Byron Saxton, and he is responsible for his career. It's very exciting stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. You know what? I was going to say something similar about Virgil as well. I'd heard that Hogan behind the scenes was an influencer there.
You know, Hogan always helps people when they need it, like Virgil. What about when Abraham Washington was fired from WWE? Who stood up for AW? Hulk Hogan. Where is AW now? AW was mocking the good name of Kobe Bryant. When Kobe Bryant was accused of what he did, who stood up for Kobe? Hulkster. When Hogan's own son was put in prison, who stood behind his son? Hulkster. And where are all these people now?
When his daughter had many indiscretions and pretty much had
many indiscretions.
He did two things. He stood beside her, and he had fatherly advice for her.
Oh, no. Okay, no. Oh, boy. Anyway.
Seeing Hogan best, right?
You know what was interesting tonight? I don't know if you saw the Kevin Owens but Randy Orton match, which ended in a big schmoz. But I was shocked at how much Randy Orton dwarfed Kevin Owens. Randy Orton looked huge next to Kevin Owens. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably, Orton's what, 6'4" or something? Owens is, I don't know, maybe 6'1", 6 or so.
I don't know, man. Is Orton putting on muscle or something? I always thought Orton was like kind of a skinny guy, but he just looked enormous compared to Kevin Owens. I was really surprised. Kevin Owens looked kind of pathetic next to Randy Orton. I was surprised.
You know what I liked? I liked this match, and I hated this match. You know what I hated?
What? Bullshit ending?
Well, no, the continuation of the Randy Orton Sheamus feud. You know what I loved?
Okay.
The start or continued start of Cesaro and
yes.
I really like this. I was almost thinking, and I think I mentioned to you, I was almost thinking that depending on when Ziggler gets back from filming his movie, maybe for SummerSlam we have Rusev versus Cesaro.
I would like that. That'd be fun.
I think.
You know, what was interesting? I don't know if you sensed it. Maybe it was just adrenaline because it was the first time these guys faced off. But the first 3 minutes, Randy Orton seemed very stiff on Kevin Owens. Like, it looked really stiff to me. Did you notice that? And Randy Orton doesn't really work very stiff, ever. And it looked like he did. You know, maybe I'm just reading into it, but, man, he was working him pretty strong.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, he, like you said, I mean, he's not like a Dudley Boy or somebody really gonna sort of put an ass whoop with somebody.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it's a situation where, hey, he wanted to calm him down a little bit, sort of treat him like a rookie and make him earn his keep. I feel like Kevin Owens he's pretty much been handed 3 super matches with not much else in between.
It's a good point. Or Owens went up to Orton and said, let's make it look great. I mean, I could see that too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like Owens, he's a much better straight-up badass heel, but he reminds me, as far as wrestling style, I'm going to say Dean Ambrose. As far as, like, hey, you know what? Hit me extra stiff tonight because I want to put this future match over, and here's how we're going to do it. So
Kev,
I'll give him.
I'm interested to give Kevin, because I know Kevin's a Owens guy. Kev, did you notice the Owens Orton match? Did you sense it started off a little stiff? Kevin's taking a big poop, so he's not here. Oh well.
I think that
I would have liked an ending in the match.
I think it was a good. I think it was a good segment overall. I really do. There's some good segments. You know what segment I actually enjoyed tonight?
What?
And I wanted to talk about this a little bit earlier. We sort of brushed over it, talking about the real, our real appreciation for the Hulkster. You know what I really like? Where where Cena and Seth Rollins are in the ring together with Triple H and Stephanie. And Stephanie basically says, "Hey, you know what? For the first time ever, we're gonna listen to the fans on this." And she gets behind the fans and has them really cheering, the yes chant going, really blowing it up. And she says something along the lines of, "I'm going to do something that I've never done before." And everybody's going crazy. He's awesome. And the thing she's never done before is say no.
Huh.
And I might be the only one who took it a certain way, but I know she never said no to the Macho Man.
Never.
She never said no to the late Andrew Test Martin. You know that she never said no to
Hogan.
Triple H, the Authority.
Hogan.
No, I know that she did not say no to a living legend like him.
Hogan.
But there were not too many no's on a personal side of that.
You know what I remember? I think back on Hogan night. Do you remember you think about feuds that redefined a generation. You think about feuds that, just basically changed the industry. And there's two I can think of. One's in WCW and one's in WWF. Hulk Hogan, Billy Kidman. Hulk Hogan, Ludwig Borga. Two of the best feuds ever. Ludwig Borga, Billy Kidman, pick your poison. They're 5-star classics.
Yeah, you know what? That's the type of wrestler that Hulk Hogan was. He'd give up and coming wrestlers like Billy Kidman a chance to really shine. Really
Always.
Give him a chance. And
Always.
That's why I'm not afraid to say it, brother. I love Hulk Hogan.
Wow. I love that you're saying that.
There's no, on a night like tonight, I'm a little bit.
Well, since the tragedy, it's tough. He's never going to be viewed the same way again. We know what he did to his son and wife, and he's going to have to explain that to his higher power, and he decided to do what he decided to do, and he took his life into his own hands, literally. And I don't know what to say. We've heard stories about Hogan a couple nights ago texting Chavo Guerrero about his whereabouts and told Chavo he loved him. I don't know. I think Regal said it best on NXT the other night, and he said, something really bad happened here, and we maybe never fully will know. And like I said, Hogan did what he decided to do, and I'm not making excuses for him. It's horrible. He shouldn't have done it. And you know what? For his son and his wife, I just don't understand. I'll never understand. And he will be erased from the Hall of Fame as a result. And that's it. You're never going to see a Hogan crossface on TV again. Ever. Would you agree? Of course you would. Vic, I know you're taking it really hard. I know you are.
You know what?
I know you're taking it tough.
Oh, he got dropped there. Hang on, trying to get him back.
Any comments, Kev, on what I just said to the world?
No. Vic, are you back yet?
I am back.
All right. I'm sorry. You got dropped right as you were trying to answer.
Angry Tensai, can you remind me of the question, please, so I can answer in full? And
I just said, do you want to comment on the ordeal on Hogan, his wife being erased from the Hall of Fame, his son, and the tragedy and his text to Chavo the night before, and telling Chavo he loved him.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. This is a big conspiracy, I think. I mean, this feels on epic proportion. I mean, the Hulkster, he's told a lot of people he loved him. He's treated a lot of people well. He's paved the way for a lot of wrestlers out there. And I feel like a lot of wrestlers out there, they still respect everything he's done and him as a professional.
One word, Vic. Concussions. We know what pro wrestling does to the brain. And I think that played here. I think that had a lot to do with this. And the strong style of wrestling that Hogan performs week in, week out, you can't keep going at that level for as long as he did.
No, I mean, especially with moves like the leg drop. I mean, that must have taken years off of his life, that move, performing it day in and day out.
I would agree. The clothesline, big boot, and what people don't realize is when you're channeling that charisma and they get the crowd going the way he does, that doesn't raise his blood pressure to get that amped up and that wired. Of course it does, and when everybody's watching SummerSlam and we get our Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar match, we're glad Undertaker's back, and he looks ready to go. But who could forget when Undertaker took the title off Hulk Hogan at Survivor Series? Although he lost it Tuesday night in Texas when Hogan used his creative control, the damage was done and a career was made. Undertaker was made that night, and here he is, one of the biggest returns ever, thanks to the Hulkster.
Yeah,
right?
You know what? I mean, I feel like this could be one of two things. This can be a complete setup where Kevin Sullivan could be behind it. I mean, Kevin Sullivan, think about it. He was sour grapes for a number of reasons. And in his
Hogan
day...
took his wife. Hogan took his wife.
No, absolutely. And you think about it, before the Hulkster went heel in WCW, Kevin Sullivan actually had an alliance to end Hulkamania.
Right. Well,
that gives him an obvious mission. Or
their problems go back way. It's not just a wife thing. Kevin Sullivan was jealous that Hogan was a Four Horseman, and he was even more jealous when Hogan returned to the WWE with the Radicals. That really bothered him. That Hogan came back in towards the tail end of the Attitude Era with Saturn, Guerrero, and Malenko. He couldn't handle it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, again, Kevin Sullivan, the setup artist of the champion. And I'm looking forward to having the Hulkster's name cleared.
I agree.
That could have been anyone who was banging his best friend's wife and having pillow talk over future intentions of his daughter. That could have been anyone.
Dude, I'm just bummed. I mean, what are you looking forward to most at SummerSlam this year?
To be honest with you, after last week and the prep work that they've done, and even having it off this week, or for the majority of it not really focused on, I want to see Lesnar take it. I think they're going to put a hell of a match on.
You're right.
Followed by Cesaro and Rusev. I think those will be the two best matches. I think the John Cena match lasts 20 minutes at least, and is a hell of a match. Just almost a Cena putting over Rollins, let him kick out of a couple finishers. But I feel like that's sort of the way that we're going out there.
It's gonna be a good pay-per-view, I think. I mean, what are they gonna put on for 4 hours?
I don't know, but the thing I do like is it being 4 hours. It doesn't have to rush through. Because last pay-per-view, I thought, okay, you know what, you lose the Big Show match, and I mean, it was almost like they were stretching to fill the matches. But look at all the talent who did not wrestle at the last pay-per-view, and you can sort of realize, like, hey, it's like, you know what, now we can have a solid 3-way tag team match, or now we can have it doesn't have to be Money in the Bank, but sort of build up some storylines a little bit more rather than have it being, oh man, the rivalry between Sheamus and R-Truth is, or not, I'm sorry, not R-Truth. Chicken head.
R-Truth. Do you hear something in the background?
I do. Is that,
wait, what is that? I don't know what it is.
Killer Kev, is that Hulk Hogan's introduction to the WWE Hall of Fame?
I think it was.
Are you still able to listen to it, or has Hogan got the full Benoit? Gotten the full Benoit. The Benoit tree. Chris Benoit. The
Who's
living
that?
legend. The other gentleman who was framed.
Who's Benoit? Wait, isn't Benoit the dude that wore the red and yellow in the 80s? That was always like talking about what you gonna do? That was Benoit.
That was the Hulkster. The Hulkster's a real American. Benoit was a real Canadian. And I feel like this could be the return of a massive stable. Think about it. The pieces are in place. But look who you have ready to come back with the Hulkster. You have the greatest goddamn technical wrestler possibly the world's ever seen. Or you know what? You have two of them. You can bring in Kurt Angle too. If he can stop doing his thing and a Hulkster, you have two separate.
Can I just ask you, do you think if Hogan and Benoit walk on Raw stage next week, do you think it tears the house down? I guess he has no comment on that, but could you imagine what the crowd's reaction would be? They'd definitely be shocked if the two of them walked on the stage, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's sort of probably not going to happen. Although it'd be nice to see.
Well, Benoit's very difficult to negotiate with, but let me tell you, he'd have some explaining to do to the feds if he showed up on Raw.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very big, it was a very patriotic display on Raw tonight. I really feel like it was. I mean, whether it be some wrestlers who were wrestling, some who weren't, I really enjoyed this, and I think this will lead to bigger, better things, especially in merchandise sales.
Can I just go right on the record and say, for my dollar, this might be the best Raw reaction ever. This is one of the most serious tones, one of the most contrite. I mean, this has been gold tonight. I know a lot of people. I'm getting emails and texts. A lot of people feel the same way.
You know what? I think it is. I don't know if it's on the same level as Hulk Hogan's podcast, which apparently he's doing a great job and getting a ton of listeners. But WWE does not want him doing a podcast anymore for some reason. I'm not sure why.
He's off tough enough. He's gone.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost. I don't know. I just did not appreciate the way that went down.
No, I'm sure on Thursday Night AMP, I have a feeling those guys are going to have a lot to say about the show. I think they're going to be of the same mindset, very upset.
Yeah. And I have to wonder, what do you think about bringing Hogan back as either a feud with or an oversight / managerial role of the New Day? I mean, I feel like, what's his name? He's a strong mic guy. What the hell is that guy's name on the New Day? The one who never wrestles. He's pretty strong on the mic. But the other two, it's painful when they're in the announcer booth.
I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go. I mean, honestly, I'm in awe tonight, and that's basically it. I have nothing else to say. I poured my heart out here tonight, straight up.
Yeah, it was an emotional night. I mean, we've had a living legend depart us, and no, I'm not talking about Chris Benoit.
No,
I'm talking about the Hulkster, Chris Benoit, former WWE Undisputed Champion of the world.
It'd be like Pat's cheesesteak closing down.
I like your analogy there. It's at that level.
What would we do without Pat's?
Go across the street to Gino's.
Yeah, well, when Macho Man's gone, you can't go across the street to Gino's anymore. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I think you can always go across the street to Gino's.
Possibly.
Whether that be an actual fact like it is in South Philly for cheesesteaks, or if that's something where you're updating the plan of attack to bring back the Hulkster. And I feel his return coming soon.
All right, man. Well, I think this was a great special. I know there's talk next week we might be doing a Benoit tribute show. I've heard rumors, and I know the fans feel that's been long overdue. Long overdue. We'll have to say. But, there's a lot of great shows in this network. You got the Greatest Wrestling Show, Tuesday nights. This week, they will be interviewing a legend, a man who was on Rockin' Wrestling, the cartoon, with Hulk Hogan. Their guest, Hillbilly Jim. Hillbilly Jim. I like it. That's going to be an exciting interview. And Hillbilly, he's not going to hold back. He's going to speak his mind. I know that Hillbilly Jim has never been one to pull punches. It will be an interview. Zane, and the other guy, they will be very fired up to interview Hillbilly Jim for sure. And you don't go messing with a country boy.
You do not, my friend. You do not.
What else we have? Wednesday night, Put Up or Shut Up, or Glove Up or Shut Up, which is the UFC show here on Angry Marks. I'm sure they're going to be talking about UFC. It's usually what they do there. Thursday night AMP. I'm sure they're gonna be talking about this Hogan and the tributes and all that good stuff. It should be interesting. Friday there is a show of some sort, and they talk about wrestling. And same thing with Saturday. There's another show where they do talk about wrestling, and that's our lineup, and it's exciting. And I'm proud to be part of it. And that's all we got this week. Anything you want to add, Vic?
You know what? There really isn't. I'm emotionally spent at this point.
Me too. Kev, you want to say anything to everyone out here before we close down tonight?
Well, I do want to say I do apologize to everybody because we didn't have a couple of shows on the air last week. That's because I went through some personal issues and we just couldn't have shows last week. So I am very thankful we did not get a lot of hate mail. Instead, I got a lot of very positive mail, and I must say I got a lot of warm love from the Angry Marks family, especially from you, Big Vic, and you, Angry Tensai. Thank you so much for your support when I needed support. I appreciate you guys. But we're back on the air, motherfuckers, and we're going nonstop hardcore once again.
We love you, Kev. And you know what? I know you were upset about us not having a show, but you know what? The fans got a real treat tonight, didn't they? They got to talk about a thing that's been on their mind and it's been bothering them. And they got to reminisce about all the many WrestleManias and big moments. So it was a treat for them tonight. It was a treat.
Really is.
It was a treat, I think. And I'm already getting texts and emails telling me it was a treat. So I'm very humbled by the fans tonight. Very humbled. Thank you, everyone. And you can go to our Angry Tensai Twitter. That's spelled Tensai with 3 I's. But we're excited to have the Twitter there. Big Dick, Big Vic, Big Dick at Twitter. That's Big Dick, Big Vic, Big Dick. That's 6 words in all. If you want to add anything to Big Dick, Big Vic, Big Dick. And that's pretty much it. Anything, Vic, Kev, I'm done. You guys take us home if there's anything you want to say. I don't know if there's anything else that needs to be said, huh? So with that said, I want to thank everybody from the Angry Marks family. Hopefully we'll find another hero. Maybe that hero is John Cena. Who knows? But till next week, stay positive and remember the good times. Thanks again. Hit the music.